Her text came at 9:46 p.m. sharp. "Don't wait up." Just 3 words. No heart emoji, no explanation. Nothing but the hollow punctuation at the end, like a door closing quietly in the dark. For a while I stared at it, waiting for another message that never came. Something about it didn't sit right. My wife, Claire, wasn't the type to stay out late on a work night, or at least she hadn't been before the past few months. Lately her team outings were becoming more frequent, her explanations thinner, and her goodnight kisses quicker, colder. I tried to focus on the television, but every flicker of the screen only seemed to echo my own unease. The living room light cast long shadows against the walls, stretching and shrinking as I fidgeted in my seat. I muted the TV after realizing I'd been staring at a commercial for 10 minutes without seeing it. By 11:30, I'd convinced myself I was being paranoid. She deserved to unwind. Work had been stressful. Maybe they were celebrating another big contract, maybe traffic was bad. There were a dozen logical reasons she hadn't texted again. But by 1:45 logic was gone. I walked to the window and pulled the curtain aside. The driveway was empty, washed in the dull yellow light of the street lamp. The silence outside pressed against the glass. Something twisted in my gut. Then I noticed it. The faint glow of our security camera's indicator light blinking steadily at the corner of the garage. I'd installed that system a few months ago, after someone broke into a neighbor's car. Claire had teased me then, said I was turning into a paranoid old man. I smiled at the memory, but the irony didn't escape me now. I opened the live feed on my phone. Nothing. The driveway sat still and silent, the occasional leaf skittering across the concrete. I almost put the phone away when I thought of checking the playback history. The timeline showed motion detected at 12:17 a.m. My thumb hesitated for a second before tapping it. The footage began with the headlights of a car cutting through the darkness. It wasn't her car. It was a black sedan, sleek, unfamiliar. The driver's door opened first. A man stepped out. Then the passenger door. Claire. She looked different in the harsh white light. Hair loose, makeup smudged, laughing about something as she stumbled slightly in her heels. The man said something, and she playfully hit his arm before leaning against the car. My chest tightened. They didn't kiss. Not at first. He leaned closer, his hand brushing her hair back, his voice soft. She laughed again, that same laugh that used to belong to me. Then, slowly, she tilted her head and kissed him. Froze. My whole body did. The soundless footage seemed to scream anyway. The moment repeated over and over in my mind like a loop that wouldn't stop. They stood there for a while, her hand tracing his arm, his fingers touching her waist. When they finally pulled apart, she whispered something and headed toward the house. He watched her go, waited until she was inside, then drove away. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. For a long time I didn't move. The house around me suddenly felt foreign, too large, too quiet. Everything, the framed photos, the couch, the faint smell of her perfume, mocked me. I thought about confronting her right then, but a colder instinct took over. Instead I saved the clip, trimmed it to those exact 30 seconds and waited. At 2:30 I sent it to her. No message, no caption. Just the video. The delivered icon appeared almost instantly, followed by read. Then nothing. For a minute I thought she might ignore it. Then my phone buzzed. "Where did you get this?" I stared at the screen, my heartbeat pounding so hard I could hear it. Typed, "driveway camera." The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. "It's not what it looks like," she wrote. My laugh was dry, bitter. "It never is," I replied. The next message took her longer. "Can we talk when I get home? Please just wait." But I didn't reply. I just turned off the lights and sat there in the dark, waiting. She came home at 3:07. The sound of her car door, the click of her heels on the walkway, the faint jingle of her keys. It all felt distant, mechanical. When the front door opened, I didn't look up. "John," she said softly, stepping into the living room. "I can explain." Then explain. My voice didn't sound like mine. She took a slow breath. It wasn't what you think. He's just someone from work. I've been struggling. You've been distant. I needed someone to talk to. I let out a low laugh. You talk with your lips, huh? Her face crumpled. I made a mistake. I swear it wasn't. I stood, cutting her off. You brought him here, Claire. You kissed him in our driveway. You looked happy. Tears welled in her eyes. I wasn't happy, John. Not really. You stopped seeing me. You were always busy, always tired. That's your excuse. I asked quietly. I didn't make you cheat. She flinched. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did. She reached for me, but I stepped back. The distance between us felt like a canyon that couldn't be crossed. John, please, she whispered. We can fix this. Fix? Said. Do you even hear yourself? You destroyed the one thing that made us us. She broke then, sobbing uncontrollably. But I couldn't feel sympathy. All I could think about was the image of her laughing with him, the way she tilted her head, the same way she used to when we first met. You should leave, I said finally. Her breath hitched. What? Pack a bag. Go stay with your mom. Or him. I don't care. Please don't do this, she begged. You already did. She stood there, trembling, mascara streaking down her cheeks. For a second I thought she might argue, but instead, she nodded slowly and turned toward the stairs. The sound of her footsteps faded, followed by the quiet rustle of a suitcase. When she came back down, she paused at the doorway. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't answer. She left without another word. When the door closed, the silence returned, heavier than before. I sat back down on the couch, phone still in my hand, replaying the footage one more time. Not because I needed to see it again, but because I wanted to burn it into my memory so I'd never forget how trust looks before it breaks. Outside, the night was still. The empty driveway glowed faintly under the streetlight. I deleted the footage, then powered off the phone. The betrayal didn't fade, but the quiet was different now. Sharper, clearer. Like a wound that had finally stopped bleeding, even if it hadn't begun to heal. By dawn, the house was filled with that fragile kind of stillness that only comes after chaos. I looked out the window at the pale morning light and whispered to myself, "Don't wait up." And for the first time I understood what those words really meant.